Broadcasting live from Youngville, North Carolina and Ontario, Canada, this is Got Mead Live, a weekly show where Vicky Rowe and AJ Araments bring you the mead news, meadery info, and mead-making discussions from all over, talking with mead makers, mead owners, industry mavens, and influencers. This is Got Mead Live, a weekly podcast about mead and the people who love it and where the mead world is going. And now here are your hosts, Got Mead owner Vicky Rowe and mead and wine maker AJ Araments.
Live from the den of the puppies of the apocalypse, Ryan's pad in Denver, and the bunny pen in Ottawa, Canada, it's Got Mead Live. Welcome to the show. We do this all on our own time and for free because we're all awesome and stuff, but the software, hardware, and storage cost money, so we hope you consider becoming a supporting patron member. $30 a year, and you get access to much more on gotmead.com. Only a little over 50 cents a week gets you access to the patron boards on the Got Mead forum, our patron Facebook group, and the award-winning recipes contained therein. So you can listen to us live on the Got Mead website, or if you're mobile or want to listen later, check us out on iTunes, SoundCloud, or TuneIn Radio at tunein.com, search Got Mead Live. Replays back to the beginning of the show are available on gotmead.com, Spreaker.com, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio. Just search Got Mead Live. You can also find us at Facebook, facebook.com/GotMead, and facebook.com/groups/GotMead, Twitter, @GotMeadNow. If you can't call us, tweet us. Making Mead Back to Basics, check the links on gotmead.com, and you can also call us at 803-443-MEAD. Did I miss anything, Vicky?
No, I think you got it all.
All right, so what are you drinking tonight?
I cracked open a bottle of, sorry for my voice, guys, meds they've got me on are fucking with my voice, and that and I have no air, so, yeah. Anyway, I cracked open a bottle of Prairie Rose Meadery's Raspberry Spice Mead, and the nose on this thing is divine. It's a semi-sweet, and you get this honey and raspberry, and it's all up in your face. Just a hint of spice on the back. The flavor is semi-sweet honey, followed by raspberry, long, fruity, spicy finish. You almost get a peppery note on the tongue at the end. And it's a light rose in color, very clear and brilliant. And you can get yours at prairierosemeadery.com. But this stuff is badass. You need to have some.
Ryan, how about you? You drinking anything?
Well, because of my situation with my blood clot in my leg, I can't drink any alcohol, maybe for the next 6 months.
Bummer.
So tonight I'm drinking water.
Well, drink lots of water.
It's clear, it's fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh and tasty, yay.
Yeah.
Well, tonight I've got a Monroe's Meadery Blackcurrant Melomel, and it is divine. I've just taken my first sip. It smells gorgeous. It tastes wonderful. It's about 12.3, and it's not dry, but it's not overly sweet. And maybe if I think about it and don't just drink the whole bottle, I'll tell you more about it later after I've had some more of it.
I like their stuff. David Webb says he's eating a slice of peanut butter fudge king cake with a glass of chocolate orange port because, you know, it is the beginning of Mardi Gras. So. And I started out with my dinner. I paired the Prairie Rose Raspberry Spice with chicken marsala with wild rice. It was really good.
I can see that.
Yeah, it worked out. So.
Oh, this is so nice.
Carvin says he's currently tasting 4 meads and eating brisket ribs and pulled pork. You know, Carvin, you have to bring your smoker to the AMMA Conference of the Mazer.
With the smoker on the balcony?
Yeah, we should just go ahead and get Carvin in here and get this over with. Let's just do this. Carvin, I'm calling you. So turn down your radio. Let's see if that works.
Yeah, this has got that nice bite from blackcurrant without being too strong. It's just really nice.
Cool.
Hello, this is Carvin.
Hey, Carvin.
Hi, Carvin.
Welcome to Got Me Live again.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
It's good to have you. So, what are you drinking?
Oh, let's see. Oh, God, I got a few things here. So, I got Haven from Meridian Hive. I have a couple different meads that I made. I have a ginger peach, ginger lime, and a sweet olive blossom. So I'm just sitting here drinking meads tonight and enjoying some barbecue.
Nice. Yeah, I told my husband that we need to just pick up and haul our asses out to Arizona to visit you guys. I'd love to see you and Robin.
That
when
would be
I'm
awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to see you and Robin when I'm not running from one place to another.
That's awesome. We would love to have you.
It would be cool. I'd like for you to get the opportunity to meet John, too. I think you'd like him very much. He's a good guy.
Hey, bring him to the Mazer and come down to Arizona. We would love to have you.
Yeah, he never makes the Mazer. He's in the middle of Facebook hell doing, his company's doing 50 new Facebook data centers, and his company his company's doing all the automation, and it's turned into like this ever-loving nightmare. They don't know what they want, and it's like the goalposts keep moving, and it's just, my husband's about ready to slit his own throat. He's in California this week. Meeting with some of the Facebook's people, and they're like, oh, no, we need this. Oh, wait, no, we need this first. No, wait, not that. This. He's just like, he's a project manager, so he's losing his mind because that's not the way this is supposed to work.
I hear you.
Yeah. So, he's supposed to be project managing, but they're not letting him, do his job. So he's
God.
Yeah, he's hoping to grab the reins and be able to go, this is what we're going to do.
And this is how we're doing it. Now stop it. Stop
and this is the order in which things are going to happen. But, yeah, his company is, it's a nightmare. So, yeah, I'm not going to get to see him much less bring him to the Mazer Cup.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, in fact, there's a very good chance that he'll be elsewhere, and I'll have to get a girlfriend in to watch Puppies of the Apocalypse while I'm at the AMMA Mazer Cup, because, So, yeah. Fun and games. But,
So who all we're going to have tonight? Me, you AJ, who else?
You, me, AJ,
Ryan's
and
on.
Ryan. Yeah, Ryan, who's sitting with his leg elevated with his blood clot. Him and his blood clot.
Hey, Ryan. Hey,
hi, bud. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Same to you.
Very proud of you.
No, thanks a bunch. I appreciate it.
No, Domrez is always a fun little company.
Yeah, I want to get down
and
there.
it ties right into, it ties right into everything that you've been preaching. It's one thing to say it, but when you can go out and wing pumps and show people that, hey, not only can I say it, I can do it, that means a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Proofs in the battles, eh?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm assuming
it's someone
Carvin...
that likes you meet outside your own family.
I'm assuming, Carvin, that you're going after the Mead Maker of the Year award this year?
No, not really. I would rather someone who's trying to open up a meadery win it, and if I think that I'm even remotely in competition with someone that I think who is going to go pro, I will back out. It means more to them than it means to me. To me, it's just another piece of shit on my wall.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything to me. I got all honey, money, fruit. It means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. All my peers know that I make good meat. I don't need another award to tell me that I'm an awesome meat maker.
Well, it's true. You are an awesome mead maker, and we all know it.
Joe Vinciguerra says, you're not going after the Mead Maker of the Year. It's coming to you.
It's coming after you.
If it happens, it happens. But I'm not really. It's not something that I'm really targeting this year. I'm just gonna enter comps, and if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
But I would really like someone who's trying to go pro to win that.
That's a really great way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we lured you on here tonight to talk about everything but what you're going to talk about at the conference, because of course we want people to come to the conference. And I'm sure there are lots of fruit related things we can talk about that aren't going to get covered in the hour that you're going to be on the stage next month. So that's kind of what we brought you on here for, was to talk mead making and melomels in particular, because everybody knows you make amazing melomels, but other subjects are not outside the realm of possibility.
Okay. Well, we can touch on some of the stuff that I'm going to present at the. I'll put on my not so casual hat now and put the meat down. So basically, the presentation is going to be about different ways of incorporating fruit into mead. So basically, I took four different techniques: all the fruit in primary, fruit split between primary and secondary, fruit in secondary only, and then a technique that I like to use, which I staggered the fruit all throughout primary fermentation. So basically, the same honey, the same amount of fruit, which was marionberries at 3 pounds per gallon, and what we're going to do in the presentation is basically, hey, it's going to be one presentation where there's going to be short on slides and heavy on mead, because we're going to do a blind tasting of those meads, and we're going to put some palettes to the and see if people in the audience can actually pick out which mead was made with what technique. And then we're going to talk about those particular meads and how they were made, and and basically just try to impart some knowledge on those wonderful mead makers who are in the audience.
Wow.
Bobby says
so
after that
it'd be interesting having those meads side by side.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what happens with that, because I'm a big melomel fan, so I'm very curious. But Bobby is saying after that picture of your grill, he wants to talk barbecue.
Well, on the subject of barbecue, I grew up in a cooking family. My folks worked in the restaurant industry pretty much their whole lives, so my background is cooking, and I think cooking, recipe formulation, and mead just go hand in hand. It's not a day or a week that goes by where someone's not posting, hey, you got a recipe for this, for that, the other, on top of sending them a link to Robert Ratcliffe's great book. Creating a recipe for mead is no different than creating a recipe for chocolate chip cookies. You get a good baseline knowledge of how to make a cookie. As Ryan would say, learn how to make a traditional. Everything starts with that, knowing how to make a good traditional. And then you just start tweaking from there. I know people think that I make a lot of fruit meads. To be honest with you, I actually don't. I make a lot of traditionals. I'm a big fan of dry meads. I rarely enter them into competitions because they're just not that appealing to people outside my house. But I make far more traditional meads than I make fruit meads. But when I do make fruit meads, I put a lot of fruit in them. They're definitely fruit bombs. A lot of my meads are up near 7 to 10 pounds per gallon of fruit. I just made a strawberry rhubarb mead with. I was just telling a friend between primary and secondary because I hit it with more strawberries in secondary. For a 10-gallon batch, I put 220 pounds of strawberries in.
Good Lord. All right. And rhubarb too? Oh, please. Yeah, who do I have to kill to get a bottle of that?
Yeah, that's one of those meats that'll never leave my house.
Aw, come on. I have to come all the way to Arizona to get that? Dude, really?
It might be worth the trip.
I can't breathe. Seriously.
But it'll still be worth the trip.
And I got things that I put in the comps, and that one will probably never see a comp.
Yeah. I'm a strawberry rhubarb is one of my favorite flavor combinations. I've got 3 jars of strawberry rhubarb pie filling, Amish pie filling that I got for my daughter's wedding that is going to go into a mead. And then I'm going to give that to my daughter and her husband. But
and that's another great way to test flavor profiles. I make a lot of jam and preserves too as well. And a lot of times when I'm canning stuff and when I'm making jams, I'm like, hey, you know what? That'll make a great mead. I was making a pineapple and cranberry jam one day for my wife, to give people for the holidays. And I'm like, you know what? That'll make an awesome mead. So the next day, got more pineapples, got more cranberries, and I made a pineapple cranberry mead. And it actually only made a 1-gallon batch of it because it was an experiment, but it turned out really good. And
Nice.
That's another thing that I'm really big on too, is I make a lot of 1-gallon batches. I know people see me posting pictures of the conicals and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I probably make more 1-gallon batches than anybody that I know because I want to nail those recipes down. I mean, down before I spend that money and scale them up. I would say on average, I'll make it 5 times in a 1-gallon batch, and if I'm not happy, that's when I do my tweaks. That's when I get everything down, and then I'll scale it up. So if you see me put it in a big conical, or I have making 5 or 10 gallons, you can rest assured that I've tried that recipe at least 5 times to nail down yeast, tannins adjustments, and the amount of oak I'm going to put in primary, the amount of oak I'm going to put in secondary, because, I know a lot of people like to do acid adjustments on the end. It's not my thing, and kudos to the people who do it. But, as a judge, I can taste it sometimes. I prefer to put all my additions in the front by using wine tannins, Opti White, Opti Red, oak. I just think it incorporates better on the front end, and it gives the mead a more robust taste on the palate from the fore to the mid to the back palate when you can adjust it the way that you want. And another reason I do those 1-gallon batches is I'll take that same honey and I'll use 3 different yeasts. And a lot of times I'll blend that traditional over three or 4 different yeast strains. Very rarely, if you have a traditional for me, did I ferment it with 1 yeast. It's usually blended.
Oh.
I find that you can target the palate. Better with a blended traditional than just one specific traditional. And that's just what I do. Not saying, either way, but I love to blend my traditionals. I'll take the same honey,
Manny's
oat,
gonna
everything,
be
and
sorry
just
he
blend
missed it.
We always talk about blending yeasts when Manny's not here, and that's his primary concern these days.
Well, keep it in mind when I say blending, I'm fermenting those meats to completion with that strain. I'm not introducing a strain on top of another strain.
Ah, okay.
To me, I've never been able to get the taste profile that I want it that way. So I'll take Orange Blossom and I'll hit it with Q823. I'll hit it with Uniform and another Chardonnay yeast, and then I'll blend them together. And then I'll remember those percentages. Then when I fill it up, I'll make 5 gallons with each yeast, to have enough to blend back together. So that's just the way I love to do my traditionals. I love to do my fruit meats like that too as well. So I love the blend stuff. It's a good way to be able to target different sections of the palates, because different yeast can do that. Different yeast can do different things. And I know there's a lot of commercial people who they have to know their yeast, and kudos to them. But you know what? I don't want to eat peanut butter and jelly every day. There's hundreds of different yeast out there. I don't have to abide by those rules. Complacency kills me. I'm just going to get bored. So, kudos to people who can use 71B for everything. More power to you. You do a great job at it. But I probably used 37 different yeast last year.
Yeah,
and my goal is to use 50 this year.
I like playing around. I mean, I just did this, the freezer mel that I'm working on. That was all the fruit from the freezer when we bought a new fridge. And I decided to go with 1388 strong Belgian. And it's like, it's doing really well. I'm getting some interesting esters. I'm getting some great flavor profiles. I'm liking what I'm seeing with this yeast in this process that normally I would have used E47 for.
Yeah, and you don't know what you don't know. There's a lot of different flavor profiles out there that yeast can give you. And I'm a big advocate of using like clover or I love alfalfa. A lot of people don't like alfalfa, but I like it because I like those light honeys. Mm-hmm. Because when I'm trying to get a taste profile of a neutral of a yeast, I like to use something that is predictable, like alfalfa, orange blossom, because I know I'm going to get that. I know what those aromas are, and so I can pick up, what that yeast added to that equation. But hey, play around with yeast. Don't limit yourself. There's so many different varieties out there, and nobody is saying that you got to make 5 gallons of this either. Make a 1 gallon batch just to see what it tastes like. I'm a big fan.
Or better yet, bake a 5 gallon batch and then split it up and use 5 different yeasts so that you can tell exactly what the yeast contributes to this particular batch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gives you a good baseline. There's a lot of times, when I'm doing recipes and I'm like, okay, well, this is missing a little something. I'm gonna use this yeast instead of this particular yeast. Which brings me to another point is, a lot of people, I wouldn't say it's common, but I love to blend honey. It's just a great tool to have. I probably got 56 to 66 different varieties of honey in my garage. My wife made me move into the storage unit because she wanted to get to the second car, and I was half of the garage, so they're not in my garage anymore. But I love to blend honeys, and use small percentages of dark honeys like buckwheat or avocado or western buckwheat. I love using blends to bring out the flavors and melomels and stuff of that particular nature. So it works really good for me. And it's something that I love to do.
Yeah, typically, when I'm getting back to traditional, I use either clover or goldenrod, and I'll throw in 1 kilogram of buckwheat too, just to add in a little more something.
Yeah, it definitely give it a little bit more complexity. The same as Pete. I love that guy, but one of the things I've learned from Pete is introducing oak in the primary. There's very rarely a mead that I make where there's not oak in the primary and oak once I rack it. And I just love what it does to the mead. And people are going to X percentages and this, that, and the other. And you know what I'm going to tell them? Just play around with it, because it's going to be different for everybody. My oak level is different than your oak level. What I like and what you like are two different things. But it's definitely something that you could play around with and put it in your toolkit. You know, I love medium toast French oak cubes. It's I rarely make a traditional mead to where I don't French oak in primary and then I finish it off with French oak. I have a pilot right now. Once again, I fermented 3 different types of grapes with 3 different types of yeast. I have them all aging on American, Hungarian, and French oak. So each one of them is aging on a different type of oak. And it's amazing what the oak can do over a long period of time. It's almost like I use a crazy amount of oak when I'm going to age something for a long time. So, for example, I have 5 gallons of each of that. I probably have 8 ounces of oak medium toast, French, Hungarian, and American oak on each one of those. And they're going on 6 months now. When I first did those, you know, it was just oak all up in your face. But what I've learned, you know, there's just some magic that goes on, kind of like in the wine industry. Once you put it in the barrel, it's like, you know, it's the magic in the barrel. And, you know, once it gets past that, I don't know, that 6 month part, especially when you're using that much oak, it's just a taste and some magic that happens to that mead, and it's just magical. I wouldn't recommend doing that for traditional, but, you know, those grapes that I use can take that oak. You know, it's just one of the things you just got to do. But it'd be a long time before I'm able to drink that mead, and I don't have a problem with that. You know, I think one of the things that people confuse these days is everybody wants to make a mead in 3 to 4 weeks. No, that's great. You can do that. But at the same time, you know, there's something magical about letting a good mead, keyword, a good mead age. You don't have to be in a rush all the time. Kudos to you. You get a cracker that you can do it in 3 to 4 weeks. But, you know, I just think there's something magical that happens when you let a mead age for a little bit. So it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I've actually, I over-oaked one batch, and it aged out really, really nicely for all that it tasted like Chateau plywood when I first pulled it off the oak.
Well,
But again,
we definitely don't want plywood mead, but I definitely encourage people to play around with it in primary and in secondary. I got to mention this for my buddy Bob while we got a minute. The New York City Fermentation Festival. Hey,
Yes.
Go out there and support Mead. Make sure that you show up for that. If we do a good job this year, then invite Mead back next year. That's going to be February 24th. So make sure that you go out and support Mead and support Bob. And keep in mind that on I think it's this weekend on Saturday, those extra 200 entries for the Mazer Cup is opening.
On the 10th.
So for people who did not get into the first 500, you can get in on the second round of the Mazer Cup that's coming up here on February 10th. So, hey, the more the merrier. That's 700 entries. That's a great playground to test your skills. So it's awesome.
Yeah, it's February 10th at noon Mountain Time, and that's a first that they're going to that level. So we're talking over 1,200 meads will be judged at the Mazer Cup this year, and that's
awesome.
That's amazing, yeah. New York Fermentation Fest is nycfermfest.squarespace.com. The link will also be on the show page, and I've posted it in the live chat. You going to be there, Carvin?
No, I was going to be one of the speakers, but I I guess I shouldn't say unfortunately, but I am going to say unfortunately. I got to go to a wedding for one of my wife's friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, is there mead at the wedding?
No, there's going to be none but Bud Light and
Philistines.
Sake or
Telling
some
you, yeah.
crap. I'm going to have to bring
Carvin.
my flask.
Yeah, you will. You'll have to bring something. We will drink a cup in your honor. I'm going to actually be on the panel there, so I will be at the NYC Firm Fest and doing assuming I have a voice. I'm hoping the meds they're switching me to will bring my voice back, because the ones I was on were taking it away. Anyway, I'm going to be there doing a Got Mead live broadcast from the NYC Firm Fest on February 24th. So.
Awesome. Well, hopefully, you do get your voice back, and we love your show. We love what you do for Mead, and we definitely want you to get your voice back.
Yeah, I want me to get my voice back too.
Yeah, it just won't be the same with me surrogate yelling at folks for you at the Mazer Cup.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, AJ, tell them this. Whisper, whisper.
Speaking of the Mazer Cup, and folks, if you haven't gotten your ticket to come out to the Mead conference, there's some great speakers who are going to be out there. You got Tom. I think you got Sergio. You got Carlos from Superstition. It's going to be that. Jeff did an amazing job last. I think it was last week when he was on, or the week before that. He just did a great job. It was great to hear him talk about his barrel program, and just to get his feedbacks in general on the, Jeff's kind of a hero here in Arizona. Contrary to what people think, we can make mead out here in the desert, and it's kind of great because we could just put our honey on the outside when we go to work, and when we come home, it's melted, so we can make mead with it. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, and we've got Chrissy Zarpour, mead and food pairing. We've got oh gosh, who else have we got? We've got one of our members is doing a sour mead experiment, and that will be, I'm adding a breakout session for her to do her thing. We're going to have in the breakout sessions, we're going to have a mead best practices. That's going to have Pete Bachlich, Carvin, I need you on that panel, and Bobby, and I think I'm going to get Sergio. So, but it's going to be, really awesome mead makers, and it's a mead best practices, basically a 101 kind of class where they can fling questions at y'all. We got.
I think Matt's going to be there too as well. So
Matt's
I think
going to be there too.
We'll be doing something on both days.
Yeah.
But I would like the listeners to imagine being in the bar, eating some chicken wings. You got to be eating something.
Yeah.
Drinking your beer, and surrounded by nothing but great mead makers. And being able to basically solicit advice from people for a whole week.
Yeah.
It's a life-changing, mead-changing experience just to be in the room with that much talent and being able to sit there and talk mead with people who love it just as much as you do.
Yeah.
So coming out to that competition, participating in the Mazer Cup, either as a judge, as a steward, and just enjoying the conference for that week is it's a great privilege. And if you can do it, if you have the ability to do it, and you have the ability to come to the conference, I strongly encourage you to come out, because I can definitely tell you're going to walk away with some lifelong friends and some lifelong mead-making knowledge.
Yeah, and it's 24/7 mead the whole week. I mean, this is so funny. This sounds
almost
like,
literally.
Almost literally, yeah. This sounds like a telethon, like a fundraiser telethon.
It's a mead-a-thon.
Yeah. Do we get Jerry Lewis anytime? So yeah, I mean, we start out with the conference. I mean, well, actually, we start out with the AMMA members meeting on Tuesday. And then we have the conference on Wednesday and Thursday. We have 2 tracks, home and professional, plus a trade show going on at the same time for both those days. On Thursday, we also add in the breakout session, so y'all are going to have to decide which you're going to attend. This should be fun. And then Friday and Saturday is the Mazer Cup judging. And then Friday night is the mead mixer, which Carvin has graciously purchased. How many tables did you buy, Carvin?
I think we look here.
Like all of them? Was it all of them?
8
Or?
tables.
Yeah.
No. So let's just talk about that for just a second. And hopefully people don't take this the wrong way, but I'm type A and I speak my mind, so I'm just going to say it anyway.
It's one of the things I know about you.
There's a lot of great mead outside the United States that people just don't know about.
Well, it never gets
and
imported.
I travel
yeah.
a lot, and I get to taste some of those meads. So a lot of the people who are at the tables that I donated, well, me and my wife donated those 8 tables to be able to highlight small meaderies. And you're going to have a lot of mead from outside the U.S. that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to taste. Mm-hmm. So for that one ticket price, you're going to be able to taste. I think we have 30 different meaderies over those 8 tables. And, where can you go in one night for one price and taste? It's probably going to be over 60 or 70 different types of mead in that room. Well, not mead, but meaderies in that room.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's an awesome. And the VIP tickets to me are awesome because you get to get in an hour before everybody else, and
it's like the Disney premiere
pass.
You
get to eat all the shrimp before they come in.
Yeah, you get to eat all the shrimp before they get in there.
You get to eat all the shrimp before everybody else gets in there.
In case
and
you've never been...
your second plate underneath the table.
Right? Yeah. In case you've not been to the mead mixer, the hors d'oeuvres are to die for. So, I mean, you got to go. I mean, it's just...
And get there early so there's not
early so there's food left. Yeah, you miss out on all the really good stuff otherwise. Yeah, but yeah.
So please take advantage of that.
Yeah,
and take advantage of that. The mead mixer is an awesome thing to go to.
It really is, and it is the largest mead tasting event in the world, and it only happens that one time at the Mazer Cup every year. So get your conference ticket and get your mead mixer ticket. Look at us, Carvin. We're like telethoning for this thing.
First of all, besides being a member of the AMMA, I don't have any seat on the board or anything like that. I'm just advocating for home mead makers who want to take their mead making up to the next level. I can tell you, by me going there last year and hanging out with the likes of Michael Fairbrother, Ken Schramm,
Sergio.
John Talkington, Jason, Jason Phelps. The list can just go on and on.
Oh, I know, right?
The people that you got to talk mead with, and hey, once the mead gets flowing, the conversations get flowing, and and it's just a great time. Through all that fun, you definitely do come home taking away some things that you can incorporate into your mead game to make you a better mead maker, because I think at the end of the day, that's what we all want to do. Mm-hmm. But part of that also too is, I get a lot of messages, on Facebook, whatever, and people are like, hey, how can I make better mead? And I'm not going to sit there and tell them that, hey, you're, learn Tosner, learn SMA, practice your craft. If you want to be good at golf, you got to go to the driving range. You want to be good at baseball, you got to go field some balls.
Yep.
You want to be a better fisherman, you got to go fish. Well, guess what? If you want to be a better mead maker, You got to learn your craft. And part of learning your craft is making a lot of mead.
Yep.
I'm not saying make 5-gallon batches. I make a lot of 1-gallon batches. I'm still practicing my craft. I practice my craft every week to try to make myself better, and I try to push myself. If I want a medal in this given category, I don't want to win another medal in that category. I go after a category that I'm weak in, like that I don't win medals in. I've already won a medal in that one. I want to go after something different every year. Every year I want to improve on something, and that's part of just practicing the craft. It's just you just got to make mead, and that process of making more mead will lead you down that path of better fermentation, learning about tannins, learning about oak additions, learning about Tosner or whatever S&A that you're going to use. I think sometimes people get too caught up in, I'm using Fermento, Fermate, DAP. You know what? I can make mead using superfoods. I can make mead using Fermate, DAP. I can make mead using Fermento. It doesn't make a difference. I'm a mead maker. To me, that's no different than a darn wrench. It doesn't make any difference to me. The concept of making mead is still the same. You've got to practice your craft. And don't get so caught up in, I'm using this ingredient, I'm using this. You got to know the craft. So.
Well, I guess a lot of times you're going to use what you've got on hand, whether that be whatever honey you've got, whatever fruit you've got, whatever yeast you've got. So once you've got enough batches under your belt, so to speak, then you know how to handle it. And if something's not going according to how you want it to turn out, you know how to start steering it in the right direction.
You touch on a very key point. I think making mead sometimes is like chaos theory. It's like a lesson in situational management. Sometimes things just don't go as planned. You can go post on Facebook for help and probably get the wrong advice.
You'll get advice.
It's nice to know that you've encountered this before, and hey, this is how I'm going to handle. This is how I'm going to handle that. 80% of my meads go as planned. For example, I'll tell you a perfect example. I had a mead. I was fermenting some North Dakota sweet clover, and I used the yeast. I did my 5 1-gallon batches. It tastes great. But when I skilled it up, I got this crazy citrus flavor that I just did not have in the 1-gallon batches. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna make a Moscow Mule out of it. That's what I did.
I like Moscow Mule.
It had so much crazy citrus flavor to where when I put the ginger in, it already tastes like it had lime in it.
Cool.
I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna. If this is what the meat gods want to give me, I'm just gonna work with it. Right now, I got it carbonating. Well, I have what's left carbonating in the outside fridge because, when you have 4 kids, 3 kids is legal drinking age, and that brings more kids over to your house for Super Bowl.
You kind of need a lock on the fridge at that point,
You can go through a lot of carbonated mead. Yeah. So, yeah. I love the low ABV meads, and once again,
great.
That's probably one of the reasons why I make a lot of traditionals, because those things are easy for me to turn. I got kids over here trying to get things off the tap. They want mead, so I don't want to use a lot of my honey to feed the masses. So I'll make something 7-8%. I'll make something 7-8% carbonated up, put it on the tap. Those guys are happy. That keeps them away from the good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so important question here, and this is seriously critical. Did you clear the kitchen counter so Robin had a kitchen again?
Yes, I did. I did. Yeah. All I did was relocate them into different rooms in the house so nobody could see them because we have no kids at home. I'm a grandpa, so
I know you
I put them in
I
a
see
guest
pictures.
bedroom.
Yeah.
So they're in a guest bedroom. I told her when we have a house guest, I will move them. We never have a house guest because we got 2 big Dobermans, and they don't like anybody.
Oh, really? I don't know. I like Dobies. They're fun.
No, but
They're nice dogs.
But I like it that way. It gives me an excuse to tell people not to come over. I'm like, I can't come over because of my dogs.
So I guess I have to haul Lucy out there then and find an RV park nearby somewhere, huh?
So, Carvin, you were saying about 80% of your batches go as planned. Do you find you learn more from the 20% that don't?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's a lot of the stuff that you see on the forum. Sometimes things just don't go as planned. AJ, it's like I've had yeast quit on me. I've had it all.
And the more you do, the more of these things you've seen.
Exactly. So if you're practicing your craft, you're going to come across stuff like that. I had a mead last month. Everything was perfect. It just craps out on me. Things happen. I had to repitch some yeast, and it happens. But yeah, that 80%, you do learn a lot. That's when the wheels come off sometime, and that's okay.
And you learn more from figuring out how to put the wheel back on, right?
Sometimes they're great mistakes. You learn. You end up having 10 gallons of Moscow Mule mead, and you consume 5 gallons on the Super Bowl. So good things happen sometimes.
Or you have that batch where you bring it out after everyone's already had a few.
Yeah. I try to just let people fill up on the session needs when they come over, to keep them away from my good stash. I have a hard time sometimes. It's like literally like when I'm trying to decide what I'm going to send to Thompson. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. I go in and I'll get a mead, and I usually always taste something before I send it off to a comp. And my wife,
You're cutting out there.
Back in the room, I was like, I can't let those go. I'm not going to hear those on the
You're cutting out. Go back to wherever it was you were standing.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you?
There
Yep,
you
that's
are,
better.
yeah. Don't move around, dude.
All right, sorry about that. Yeah. Sometimes my cell reception is kind of crazy from my house, but sometimes it's hard to let meads go, and I have my favorite meads that I just won't let go out of the house sometimes, and it's hard to let them go. And on the subject of comps, that's, I hear stuff about comps all the time. Folks, go walk in those folks' shoes sometimes. It's tough. It's tough when you have to sit. It's tough when you have to sit down at that table with that mead in front of you and you have to fill out the score sheet. It's tougher than what you think it is. And it's a difficult job. It's a really difficult job. And kudos to the people who put on the comps. Kudos to the judges. It's a very, very tough thing to do. And those people deserve a lot of credit. I don't remember the last time I seen a post on Facebook to say kudos to the judges, but you come on there and you bitch about something, about a comp.
Yeah.
That's when I just need a virtual pimp hand across the internet. Like, get your ass away from the computer.
Well, after 2 days, I mean, I've been judging the Mazer Cup since it started. I mean, I was one of the founders. And then I judged at the International Mead Festival for 3 or 4 years before that. And it's hard. I mean, after 2 days of intensive mead judging, and you're judging 80, 90, 100 meads a day, easy, you know. And then coming back sometimes and then judging mini BOSs for some of those categories, it's rough. And I get to the end of it. Yeah, I get to the end of it, and I feel like I've been dragged through that hole backwards. It's hard. It's, you know, I mean, I'm whipped. I got no voice. My stomach hurts. You know, I just, you know, you feel sick actually at the end of 2 days of judging, and because you know your body
can get meaded out.
Yeah, you can. I don't want to see mead for 2 months after the Mazer Cup usually at all. You know, people are like, "Here, try this." I'm going, no, thank you. I'll wait.
Thanks, but no.
But you know what? Sometimes in those late days and those late hours, you know, you get that one mead. They're like, you know what? Hey, I'm glad I stayed. Mm-hmm. I remember, you know, I think his mead. I know Ryan's still there somewhere in the background.
He wants to chip in on the comps thing. So yeah. He's sitting there at home with his leg elevated.
I remember, you know, I was judging traditionals at the Orpheus Cup, and it was late, and I remember having his Colorado traditional. It's like that mead was a Red Bull. It's like, this shit's so good. You know, it's just like, wow, you know, like, wow, you know, and that's why I judge. It's like, man, you come across that one mead that's just like, it just transforms you. It's like, wow. You know, I remember having, you know, some of Merrick's meads and some of Pav's and Davis, and the list goes on and on.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Of course, you don't know it's their mead until afterwards.
No.
And you see the winners post, and you're like, oh, I remember that mead. I was down on my luck on that one.
Well, Ricky
tasted it, and it just like brings back to life.
Oh yeah, Ricky Diaz's strawberry from last. Like Ricky Diaz's strawberry from last year was out of this world, and Danny of course didn't know it was Ricky's until after. It was funny because Ricky was serving. He was a steward, and I'm like raving on and on about his strawberry, and he's like standing in the background with both hands over his mouth.
He's still mad at me for beating him, but
well, and then two or 3 years ago, there was a Chipotle that took best in show, and the home comp was completely and utterly around the bend out of this world. It was the best effing mead you ever tasted. It was so damn good. And it just narrowly beat a strawberry that I was absolutely in love with, and turns out was made by a buddy of Pete's using one of Pete's recipes. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. That I've never been able to make that
So, Ryan,
recipe.
you want to chime in on comps?
Yeah.
I know a great thread about comps.
Yeah, it was a great thread.
Well, and it actually wasn't, I didn't want to reply or talk about the thread, although that was a good thread. I was happy to see we got through with some civility, and I was glad that you didn't have to shut it down. But I thought for our listeners, I wanted to give a little bit of a personal testimony for the first time that I went to the Mazer Cup. You guys were talking and inviting everybody and saying how cool it is, and everything you said was exactly the case, without a doubt. But I would also like to encourage our listeners, if you're considering coming, to volunteer. Yeah. Let me tell you what I did. The first competition I ever sent a mead in was to the Mazer Cup, and probably most of the entries I sent in were in categories. Well, in fact, every one of them was in a category that I'd never tasted before, because I'd never tasted a mead, period, when I sent in my first entries.
Wow.
Well, I also wanted to volunteer as a table steward, or I didn't know I was wanting to be a table steward at the time, but I did volunteer. And I can tell you this, that I walked away with so much more confidence than you could ever get, even making 100 single-gallon batches at your house over the next year. And here's why. I thought I was doing pretty good, but I didn't know because I'd never tasted another mead. I got on, and I was fortunate enough, or I felt very fortunate, to become a table steward right away. And in doing so, I could sit there and I could listen to the judges talk and converse with each other, and I was seeing how they were doing the scoring and all, and it wasn't very long after that they were allowing me to drink some of these different things as they were, coming off the table, and I was compiling all the scores and all of that. But what I learned in just that first day, and then of course this was reinforced even more so the second, was I walked away from there really feeling that without a doubt I had a good handle on what was going on. And I also walked away thinking, I thought I had a pretty good palate, and I thought I could taste things pretty well. And in other words, I didn't really know, but I thought I was doing pretty good. And I can tell you that by the end of those 2 days, I walked out of there 2 feet taller as a mead maker, just from my experience of being at a comp, tasting a bunch of nice things, meeting friends. I was pretty quiet the first year for sure, and then last year I was pretty quiet too for other reasons. But anyway, I just want to reiterate to you guys that are listening tonight, you should really consider coming out, but also even more so, you should consider to volunteer as a steward. And then I'm sure there's a whole bunch more of you guys out that are wondering whether or not I should become a certified judge. And I would just like lastly to say that I can guarantee, even if you don't end up really, doing the circuit very much or traveling around to different competitions, you will benefit by becoming a judge. And that I really look back at that as like my first real solid shot in the arm about becoming a mead maker. And I just want to encourage all of you that are on the fence about that. You should really come out and meet everybody, and it's great, loads of fun, and you'll walk out of there with miles and miles more of experience in a different way than, mixing up a bunch of stuff. But I really want to encourage you all to consider coming and consider volunteering. And if you can't make it to the Mazer Cup, at least go and volunteer at the competitions in your local area. You will, I promise, you will benefit by it greatly.
If I could add to that, the experience I got volunteering in the pouring room, just being able to smell and at the end of the day taste some of the stuff, was a huge thing for me. That was probably worth the entire cost of the plane ticket getting out there, never minding meeting all you wonderful people at the same time. But just having a chance to taste all of these meads made from honeys I don't have access to was amazing. And getting to sit in, and getting to sit in on, I think it was Wayne and a couple of other folks judging the best of show, and them letting us taste stuff at the same time was amazing. Like, just getting to taste and see what they're saying according to what you're tasting is there's no amount of money that can pay for that experience.
Yeah, and I'm glad this is a adult show, because I know you tried to say pouring room, but it really sounded like you said porn room.
Yeah.
There's no porn room at the Mazer Cup.
Well, there wasn't last year. We could fix that this year.
No. There ain't no kind of party going on like that. No.
No, we know it. Now we know it. I've never seen it, and I was president for the first 5 years of the Mazer Cup. I don't remember ever seeing a porn room.
There is a hot tub.
Yeah,
there is a hot tub.
That was a slip.
Yeah. So if you're coming to see me porn, you're not going to see it. I'm sorry.
Well, you're going to get some good needs, but
oh my God, yeah. Oh, and we started to say how, you got the events during the day, but in the evening, is when everybody gets together. I mean, many, if not most of the people are staying there at the hotel. They're coming from other areas, so they're staying at the hotel. And there are get-togethers that go on in the rooms until the wee hours, some of them. And, Carvin was gracious enough to get a suite and have a lot of people up to trade and try meads last year. It was amazing. I missed out on some of them, so we'll see if I can get there earlier this year. But, it's just really cool because there's so many people. Bobby Slans is getting a suite. So he's going to be inviting people to come and trade and try meads. So there's all kinds of mead swapping that goes on. I was able to get AJ and Hamish with me and Bruce with me over to sample all of Ken's meads last year.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was amazing. That was a good time.
Yeah, yeah. Ken's meads are so good. Yeah.
You're going to have a great mead experience. And one final thing about comps, because this is like one of my pet peeves, because I literally want to strangle the judges when I have this argument with them. If you make a mead that has a lot of berries in it, for the love of God, please put mixed berries on it.
Yeah.
Because if I sit across the table from one more judge who tells me they can't taste all the berries, I will be on CNN from stabbing them with a pin.
Oh my God.
I can't take it anymore. So you are saving another judge's life by just putting mixed berries. If somebody puts 6 berries in a mead, how the hell you taste 6 berries?
I know, right?
Nobody got that kind of palate.
Well, I know.
Maybe Pete.
Well, Pete does, but yeah, he's the only person on the planet that does. But yeah, I love it when I see the descriptions and they say raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, aronia berries, cranberries, mulberries, and like
for the love of God,
goji berries, and it's like, seriously.
That's my final thing about comps. That's one of my pet peeves right there.
All right, you talked earlier about how you're doing a lot with session meads, and we've had other folks on talking about session meads, but I'm really curious about what you're doing with them.
I'm a big fan of Eric Lowe and his gang down there at Meridian Hive, and I can't wait for, I think the stuff that Jason is going to put out at Ancient Fire is going to be awesome. I've had some of his session stuff too as well. So, I draw my inspiration from those two. I'm pretty much following that same mold. I might do a little bit more stuff up front than them, so far as, different tannins, different adjustments. I know Eric does a lot of that with his session meads, but, I target an ABV, I ferment dry, I back sweeten, I stabilize, I carb it up. It's not too much to it. Those are my turn and burn type meats. It's just something that I just love to have on tap all the time. Anytime I do fruit or spice additions to those, it's always in the secondary. Once primary is done, and it always works great for me. It's good stuff. With the favorite around here being, I know it's crazy, but they just love the cucumber lime in this house.
Oh.
I posted that recipe on the meadmakers group, but that's a crowd pleaser in this house. It never does well in comps, but it's like
yummy.
one of those meads. It's just like it's just you're either gonna love or hate cucumber.
Oh, I love.
It's kind of like buckwheat. You're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. One of the two. There's no in between with buckwheat.
Sergio's cucumber was divine, and I didn't realize you'd posted the recipe, so I'm going to go snatch it. And when cucumbers come into season here in a couple of months, I'll be going to the farmer's market. So. But yeah, and
Man,
I love the
when
lime
cucumbers
idea.
come in
It's great.
I've never have gone to a store and not seen a damn cucumber.
Oh no, they always have them at the store, but I don't know where they're coming from. I'd rather wait until they're growing them locally. That's just a thing for me. But besides, by then I'll have my temperature control thing set up. My husband informed me the other day that he's like, we have a chest freezer. I'm like, great, we can convert it to a temperature controlled mead fermenter. And he's like, wait, what? He thought it was going to be a freezer.
It's a great summertime mead.
Yeah, well,
it's
exactly.
a great summertime mead.
And that's
I totally
what I
have
was.
to try that.
Yeah, I figured I'd pitch that after the Mazer Cup was over.
That's one of the few meads that I do. That's one of the few session meads where I put everything in primary. I've never had luck putting the cucumber and lime. Well, I've made it. It just tastes different. It's just completely different for that particular veggie combo.
Interesting.
Veggies are weird anyway. They're like wannabe fruit. It's like the kids who hung around the cool kids. It's like there's vegetable, there's cucumber. Pear and apple don't want you here. So you got to work hard with veggies.
What's the thing though? Technically, cucumber's a fruit and rhubarb's a vegetable, so
Jaden is asking, can you describe the cucumber lime mouthfeel and depth of flavor?
Well, mouthfeel is going to depend on the mead maker. You can completely change the mouthfeel of a mead by the yeast that you use, by the tannins that you put in. So that's all for me. That's part of recipe design.
Okay.
The flavor. I'm using a lot of cucumbers. I think I'm using like 6 pounds of cucumbers per gallon or something like that.
Dang.
So the flavor is crazy. I'm also putting the lime juice in primary too as well. So
now I'm thinking, key lime juice is popular around here, and I'm thinking, ooh, that might be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Play around with it. So, there's a great base recipe out there on the Modern Mead Makers group, and feel free to send me any questions about it. I know a couple of people in the group have made it. I know Warren's made it. A couple guys in my home club have made it. So it's tested per se. And Lord knows how many times I've made it. I've made it for at least 5-6 years.
Yeah, that sounds like a wonderful summer mead. I think I'm going to have to make a batch of that for my friends.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, thank you for posting that, Carvin. That's really awesome. Yeah, I constantly nag Sergio as to whether he's going to release his cucumber mead, because I bought it the last time he had it out there, and it was just the best thing ever. And he didn't do it this year. Or last year, I should say. So I don't know if it's going to happen in 2018.
Sergio is a wonderful mead maker.
He is.
I think he gets overlooked in the mead game sometimes, but the man makes great mead, and his meads are consistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love about his mead. His flavor profiles are always consistent. He's a great mead maker. These little new kids on the block, they're making great mead. You got the Sergios, you got the Jasons, you got the John Talkingtons. All these guys make great mead. People always say, Carvin, are you going pro? I'm like, hell no. I don't want to compete with them people. I just sit here in my house, no.
And it's not like you don't.
I worked my whole life.
I was going to say, it's not like you don't have a great business that does what you need it to do and lets you do what you want to do. That's amazing.
Yeah, if I wanted to donate money, I'll just go adopt another kid.
There you go.
But no.
Watch what you say there. You'll have mead makers begging you to adopt them. Carvin, will you adopt me?
Please.
Don't tempt me. I got a lot of trees that need to be planted on my new property. So, I'd definitely adopt some 20-year-olds right now.
There you
But,
go.
I
All right,
can
all you
honestly
20-year-old
say-
mead makers out there, remember he said this. I heard it. It was live.
I got a free place for you to stay, and there's mead in my guest room.
Yep, and all you have to
If
do
you want
is
to take some
plant.
holes.
All you have to do is plant trees and follow directions, and it's just like easy.
And be friends
peasy.
with the Dobermans.
And be friends with the Dobermans, yeah.
Yeah, I can honestly say that I will never, and I do mean never, open up a mead.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, Carvin. People have been asking me that for 25 years, and I'm going, no, I'm having way too much monitoring and being the Barbara Walters to the industry. It's such a blast. Jaden says he can have his papers by Wednesday. So. He's in Canada. So.
Working visa.
Yeah.
He can get a green card,
I
I'm
go to Canada
sure.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, two of my kids live in Canada. So I actually go to Canada a lot. It's one of my favorite places.
Canada's a neat place. I
Love
haven't
it
been
up
there
there.
in forever. I got to get up and see AJ. That's next time I
And meet Van Helsing.
Yeah, meet Van Helsing. Yeah, and it may be that before Australia, the way things are going. If I can learn to breathe, then I won't be flying 28 hours to Australia.
Well, before we get too late in the evening, do we have any questions from any members?
All right, guys, here's your chance. Ask Carvin questions.
I'm pulling a Ryan.
There you go. Ryan, you got any questions?
Oh, I'm all good actually, but thanks for asking.
I got one. How do you manage your fruit? Do you do fruit bag or free run, or juicing, or how do you manage fruit?
All of the above.
Okay.
So for like strawberries, because they turn to mush so quickly, I'll put them in a bag. But most of my berries, I'll just throw right into the fermenter. It doesn't bother me with the little loss that I have. Once again, I'm not trying to open a meadery or whatever, so the little loss doesn't bother me that much, and I don't mind. I also, one of the things I like to do is I like to juice a certain percentage of fruits, especially like the light berries, like the Marionberry or boysenberry. I'll juice a few pounds of them just to enhance the color a little bit. I find it helps with extraction. Also tend to probably going to get hate mail on this one, but I tend to finish my meats a little bit on the high side. So when the meats have just about finish fermenting, I'll ramp the temperature up on my conicals. Sometimes I'll go all the way up to 78, 80 degrees with fruit in there.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay,
So that's only at the end of fermentation you raise the temperature?
Yeah.
Yeah. All your flavor profiles, at least from my experience, they have developed by then. So I'm just trying to see if I can extract more color.
Okay.
For the most part.
Okay.
But I also use, for dark fruit, I use Opti Red too, and I think that helps a lot with stabilizing the color too as well, at least in my opinion.
Interesting.
Have you much experience with heat versus not heat when it comes to doing color extraction? Because when I started doing fermenting, I started with wines, and the instructions I was following said to boil your sugar with your water and pour it over the fruit, let it cool, add your yeast. And I found that I got better color than by just adding the fruit to cooled honey water. I'm just wondering if anybody else has found the same thing, or if anyone else has ever tried.
I haven't tried, but I will say that, and I think I did a post about this, in anticipation for potentially doing a talk next year at NHC, one of the things that I've been working on is trying to come up with yeast strains that people can ferment above 70 degrees and still make great mead.
Yes.
We can preach temperature control all day long. Blah, 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 blah.
Please give us something at a yeast that can tolerate it.
So some people just don't have the money or the ability to do stuff like that. I remember in my 20s, I lived in a hot apartment, and I couldn't afford a chest freezer, let alone a Renko controller. I was worried about where I was going to get my next six-pack from. I couldn't afford those things.
Right.
So I want to, now that I have the means, I'm going back and playing with yeast to see which yeast I can use at just room temperature and come up with a process for this, tailoring the nutrients if possible. Keep in mind, this is all, I'm just playing around with this stuff, to see if it can be done. If it can't be done, it can't be done, but I'm definitely trying. And so the motivation is, I took a trip out to Napa. Robin went out to Napa. And I was just quizzing the crap out of these winemakers. And I had the luxury of being able to talk to the head winemaker at Joseph Phelps. And, they make great wine. And I'm like, what's your average fermentation temperature? Guy's like 78. I'm like, okay. Really?
Really?
I was like, okay. Went on to the next winery. What's your average fermentation temperature? 76. I didn't get anything lower than 72.
Damn.
And it's not like these wines are not world class. So obviously it can be done in the wine world, and they're doing it in the wine world. And yeah, I know they're aging it on oak and whatever it may be, and that might be what we have to do in the meat world too as well. Now, these guys are using nutrients. They are, doing pump overs, ask all those questions, So it's not like they're just mixing it up and praying that it turns out great. There is some protocols there. So can we adapt those protocols, and can we find some yeast strains to where if people just don't have the ability to be able to do it, can we at least say, okay, these are 4 or 5 yeast strains that you can use, and here is a tailored nutrient schedule that you can use to still make good meat.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see that.
That's something that I've been working on.
Yeah, I would love to see that process. That's an article, and when you figure it out, please write an article so I can post it on Got Mead, please.
Well, I think if you can solve that little problem, if you can give people some ways of basically being able to do that, maybe we can open mead making up a little bit more.
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
All. It could appeal to a few more people. And thinking back to tasting my grandfather's strawberry and dandelion wine. Now, granted, I didn't know what the hell I was drinking back then. I didn't know. I don't have the sensory training that I have now.
Yeah.
But I can tell you one thing: my grandpa didn't have a damn chest freezer, and
my daddy didn't
pretty
either.
Darn good.
My daddy did it in the basement in wine bottles with balloons. And it tasted good to me.
Some of my best batches have been made in gallon jars with saran wrap on them.
Yeah.
There's one caveat to that. My grandpa loves sugar, so his finishing gravity probably was 1090.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
It was like drinking like liquid Kool-Aid.
My daddy's
so it's like yeah.
My daddy's 25-year-old rhubarb wine that I found in the basement one Christmas year. And I was rootling about in the my dad's a pack rat. I was rootling about in the basement looking for something or another, and I found this wine. Brought it upstairs and thought this is going to be crap, right? Because I remembered he was making it in like the Michigan basement, which we're talking rock walls, coal chute, the whole 9 yards. And that's how old I am. And balloons on the thing, and I remember the balloons expanding until they broke, etc. And I thought, this is going to be awful. And I opened it up. It was super sweet, but it was actually really good. I was stunned.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, oh my God. we got a metric butt ton of questions coming in here.
Awesome. So I just want to say one thing. I want to finish that off, and then I'll answer some questions.
All right.
Modern mead making is still what I recommend for anyone who's going to say, hey, I want to get into mead making. But, in the meantime, we know that this process can make great mead. Is there another process at higher temperatures? Can we? I just want to explore those flavor profiles up there to see, hey, can it be done to get some different flavor profiles out there? Because you know what? If everybody's fermenting their meads at 62, I'm just that guy who just wants to hang out in the corner and just do some milk. Just to piss you off.
May I suggest K1V?
Yeah. Mine end up being 70-something because North Carolina. You know, I mean, you live in Arizona, so I don't have to explain this to you. But, it's that kind of thing. So, yeah, if I can find a way
You'd think in Canada might it be cold, but we actually get pretty hot summers.
Yeah. Well,
I don't have air conditioning.
But,
even with the temps, I still don't think you're just going to be able to just, like, let it free rise and go up to 90 or some crazy stuff like that. So, but if we can target people to say, hey, if you could just put it in your house and put it in a water bath or something like that, to where it doesn't go above a certain temp, that's what I'm kind of shooting for. I just don't think that you're just going to be able to put something in the corner and just, like, let it free rise. So, but telling someone that, hey, you can just use a water bath and use this yeast and you'll get this given profile, I think that's doable for people.
Well, I've had really good luck with K1V because I don't have the facility for temperature control.
Yeah.
I
didn't before.
K1V and bread yeast, both of those work really well. So if you like Joe's Ancient Orange, go to town with your bread yeast.
Yeah, people knock it, but you can actually make a pretty decent mead with it. I mean, I
know
people
like the one that I was drinking last week.
As a computer programmer,
yeah,
if I could write one virus, if the government gave me the okay to write one virus that would change the world, I would write a virus that would erase every damn thing about Joe's Ancient Orange off the internet.
No, you wouldn't, really?
It's one of my favorites, man.
Yeah, Joe's Ancient Orange has gotten more people into mead making than any single other thing.
It's my virus, and it's my game.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, I'll give you that. But please don't write the virus, because Joe's Ancient Orange continues to bring people into mead making. So
I totally understand why you'd say that, though, because honestly, Joe's breaks all the rules, and it doesn't really teach you that much about fermentation.
No, it doesn't. No, there's no question about it. It really does break all the rules. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does kind of sort of suggest that you should be doing things wrong.
Yeah.
But the
Maybe
thing
we should
is,
get Joe to come to the Mazer Cup.
Joe is retired in Florida and not into the mead thing anymore.
We did have him on the show.
He was on the show like in the first 5 episodes. So yeah. But only because.
Hey Joe, enjoy your retirement, bro.
Yeah, only because we had to like do a shout out to him because Joe's Ancient Orange, But I mean, JAO has brought so many people into mead making, and it really is like foolproof. No matter how big a fool they bring out, if they follow the directions, it works.
Yeah, I'm sure that more than half of the mead recipes I've made have been a variation on Joe's.
Yeah,
and a lot of them have turned out really, really well, and they're things that I do all the time.
Yeah. I don't do a lot of Joe's
say what
anymore.
you will about it, but,
but it does
the bread yeast works really well here.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a buttload of questions here before we get off on a Let's Bash Joe's. Jaden says, do you have any specific preparation method that you prefer? Grinding, slicing, puree for fruit or berries, like that?
No.
That was easy.
Basically... I get a lot of my fruit from Northwest Wild Foods. I don't think that's any secret to anybody. I've posted that link on the forums, a few times. Depending on the fruit, like I said, Sometimes if it's a lighter colored berry, like a strawberry or a boysenberry or marionberry, I'll choose a certain percentage of it and put that in fermentation just to get a little bit better color extraction. But, I basically just use frozen fruit. Even when I buy fruit from the store, so I guess this is prep, I'll freeze it before I'll use it in fermentation, 99% of the time.
I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one who does that.
Yep. It's just the way I've done it. I like it. I like the results that I get, but I get a majority of my fruit from Northwest Wild Foods. They've always been good to me. So they give me a huge discount because I've been using them for years.
Okay.
Well, I just find when you freeze it, it releases a lot of juice. Like what you were saying about the strawberries, how you end up with this, very small bag of mush at the end. I find the same works for pumpkin when you've frozen it, and actually a lot of other fruits when you've frozen it. Not so much for like raspberries and stuff like that, but apples and any of the flesh fruits tend to be like that when you've frozen them. You get a lot better extraction once they've been frozen.
Oh, yeah, I'm right there with you. I always freeze all my fruit first, and then I smoosh it. I have a potato masher that
Yep.
and I potato mash that puppy, and I toss it in the mead. It works. I think it works way better.
I've been on a mission to find a potato masher that doesn't just let all the blueberries escape.
I know, right? They're not narrow enough.
No.
And I made the mistake with the freezer mead, which is currently in secondary, of just flinging the fruit in there and not putting it in a bag. Big mistake. Now I'm paying the price. So I got 4.5 gallons clear. Well, fruit free. Okay, it's not clear yet. And then another 1.25 gallons-ish that has bits in it that I'm going to have to let settle and then rack again. So, yeah. If you're doing fruit, especially if you're freezing and then mashing it, it's a good idea to use a sparge bag or a brewing bag of some kind.
If I have them, I use them, but like I said...
yeah, same here. If I have them, I use them. If I don't, it's like whatever, yeah.
It's not going to make a break by me. I can understand why, people who care about, finishing volumes and all that stuff use them, but I don't really care about that.
Well, you know what we did? I mean, this one was a 6.5 gallon, and it was a little too big for my bucket, which is 6.8. And I mean, by the time you stir it and everything, you got overflow. So I racked it. I went ahead and just dumped. Well, I didn't rack it. I just turned it and just flipped it and dumped the damn thing into my 60-liter Spidell, which, during primary, it doesn't matter how much headspace you have because it's doing what it does. So, I left it in that for primary and then racked it back into the 6.8 and then into one of my 2 gallons that I'm going to be using for my tea mead experiments that I'm doing this winter. And the last bits were what went into the tea mead, and I had my husband holding it and tipping the thing up so that we could just go ahead and we put the 2 gallon into the sink, sterilized everything, sterilized a colander, dropped the colander into the 2 gallon, and then just dumped the whole mess in there and let the liquid drain out, and then threw away the fruit. Not pretty, but it works.
All right. Let's get to the next question on it.
Okay.
We got a lot of questions on it.
Yeah, we do.
I get them.
Okay. Next. Okay. Do you have a yeast preference? You kind of said you really don't.
I don't have a preference of yeast. I fit the yeast to whatever I'm making. It's great to have a lot of yeast knowledge. So I'll play around with a lot of different yeasts, and I will use whatever yeast I think is going to fit the recipe that I'm making. So I don't have a favorite yeast. I'll use whatever it takes, even if it means making 2 or 3 batches of the same mead and blending it together to get the profile that I want.
Okay.
With different yeast.
Joe Vinciguerra is asking, powdered tannins, primary, secondary, both, neither, or depends?
Primarily for me, I'll put them in primary because I just think there's something magical that happens with the yeast in the primary fermentation. But I will use Scotch Lab's finishing tannins sometimes to, I would say less than 5% of the time. There are some finishing tannins that I will use, but 90%, 95% of the time, I make those adjustments in primary. And that's one of the things that I like to do with, like I said, with the 1 gallon batches. So I know exactly what I have to do when I'm trying to scale up the recipe.
Okay. Jaden is asking, this is harking back to your granddaddy's dandelion mead, or dandelion wine, root or flower? Do you remember?
He used to use flowers.
Okay. That's my daddy used too. Root is too bitter. Okay. All right. Gandalf asks, what do you do to kill stuff on the fruit? Anything?
I usually use potassium metasulfite. So usually what I do when I'm making a fruit mead, first of all, the fruit's usually frozen, so I'll hit it with some pectinase and some potassium metasulfite, while I'm waiting for that to come up to temp. So that's usually between 12 to 18 hours. So, and I've really never ever had an issue. And secondary, I still hit the fruit on. So like when I'm cracking on top of that fruit, I'll still hit it with a little potassium metasulfite too, just to be on the safe side. Okay. Now, a lot of people say, hey, there's enough alcohol in there, but I spent all that time making a mead. I just prefer to be on the safe side.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I find most of the time if your fermentation starts up quick enough, you don't really need to, but I've found a couple of fruits, like for me, I always sulfite pears because they just start going spotty before you can even get before the fermentation starts up. But most of the time I figure a good strong fermentation's enough to kill everything, but I only ever do fruit and primary, so I'm really glad you answered that question about when you added a secondary.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Any more questions?
Let me look here. Looks like we've got all of them.
Awesome.
Do you always use pectinase when you're using fruit?
Yeah. My thing is why not?
Can't hurt.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
It's just a little precaution. It's just part of the process that I use. I like it, and it gives me great results. But it's never have a problem with haze when I'm trying to bottle my meats. So that little precaution goes a long way.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's cheap, it's easy, it doesn't affect the taste, and I also read that sometimes it can help breaking down the fruit for better extraction of the juice too. So.
Okay, we do have another question.
Yeah.
David Webb is asking, cucumber lime mead, didn't you make a batch with basil, and do you have an amount per gallon you recommend?
Yeah, I did make a batch with basil. The basil just faded over time. The cucumber and lime just overpowered basil. For like 3 weeks it tasted great. I got some of that sweet Thai basil in there, but it just really faded. I think I used like 2 ounces of fresh basil per gallon, but it really dissipated pretty quickly.
Is that 2 ounces per volume or weight?
Weight.
Okay. Big difference there, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Silly American unit.
Well, it'd be a big difference.
I think the cucumber lime by itself is a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm really chuffed about the cucumber lime. I want to make that. So.
Yeah, it's definitely give it a try. Once again, it's out there on the form, and it's definitely there for anybody to look at. Any more questions?
What is
I
your
think I just
favorite?
saw one.
Yeah, what is your favorite recipe that you're willing to share from Jaden?
Favorite recipe that I'm willing to share.
That's a tough one.
No, it's because he added the caveat, willing to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, where there's that whole willing to share thing.
Probably just a basic session mead. I think if you know how to make, I just started a orange blossom session mead today. So give me a couple of days, I'll post that one to the forum. Because I look at it like this: if you can make that, I that's still one of the most popular, next to the cucumber lime. That's one of my most popular meads. Is a carbonated orange blossom. That when I go to the club meetings or someone comes over, people just want that mead. I keep it right around 5-6%. Just make it real light, easy to drink, and people drink that up. Nobody wants to drink 14%, 16% mead all day long. So I've become known for, hey, let's go to Carvin's house. You got session mead. So I always got them on tap. So they can have 4 or 5 and still function. So I put that, and I see the comments say, hey, I can't get access to orange blossom. Then use a local honey. Use wildflower. Use clover, but just focus more on just making a great, no fruit addition, no nothing, just great carbonated single honey session mead. Get that down and then start playing with it. Trust me, people are going to drink it.
Oh yeah, totally.
One of the things that I love that Billy Lost Cause that he exposed me to is 10-11% carbonated meads, and I remember the first time he sent me a couple of bottles of his carbonated stuff, and man, those meads, those big meads like that, those standard meads carbonated, they don't taste like 10 or 11%. So me and my wife were sitting there drinking those, and we went through like 3 or 4 of them, and I got up to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, I got to sit back down. Like, I remember sending him an email the next day. I was like, were those session meads? He's like, no, those were standard meads. I was like, because I saw the carbonation, and I'm like, session. I'm just gonna shut these down. Well, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, there's your
Billy
mistake.
Makes great carbonated full strength mead.
Yeah, never assume carbonated means session. I learned that lesson a long time ago.
Yeah. Billy and Lost Cause taught me that the very hard way. Yeah. That was a late start morning.
Yeah, Billy's.
And thank you also, Golden Coast Meadery.
Right? Yeah, Billy's meads are actually going to be served at the meet and greet on Wednesday night at the AMMA Conference. He just contacted me today, so we're going to have Billy's meads there. So there'll be other ones too, but Billy is one of the ones that I can I can confidently announce that he will be there.
Yeah, Billy's in the buckwheat brotherhood.
Yeah,
he's part of this brotherhood of people who are trying to get other people to love buckwheat. So he's a proud buckwheat brotherhood member, and he does a darn good job with buckwheat meats. Any other questions?
Nope, not at the moment. Jaden is saying if somebody
Yeah,
sends
awesome.
him orange blossom, he'll give you money, but
Good luck with that, Jaden.
Yeah, good luck with
Yeah.
that.
Probably not going to get anybody to want to
Ship orange blossom
part with
across
their orange blossom.
international borders. He's in Canada, so
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, he's out of the country. Yeah, that's going to be tough.
it's gonna be
I've
a
got
little
4 pounds of it. I still haven't done anything with it yet. My mom brought it back for me.
All right, I'm just gonna have to smuggle like a gallon of it across the border for you, dude. When I come
That'd
up
be
to
awesome.
visit. Yeah, I will. If when we figure out a date for me to come up to visit, I will totally bring a gallon of OJ. No worries, man.
Well, to recap, is hey, please come to the Major Cup and the conference. Vicky's done a great job of putting that together. There's a lot of great presentations that are going to be there. A lot of great speakers. Definitely come sit through my presentation on fruit. You're definitely going to get some good meads. You can probably have good meads at all the sessions. That's just going to be a given. And we would like to have you there. As Ryan said, being able to volunteer or work at the Mazer Cup is definitely a life-changing experience for a mead maker. And make sure you don't forget about the Fermentation Festival in Old Slanty out there in New York, and I know Vicky's going to be out there too as well. So please go out there to support me. And last but not least, I posted a link last week, and I'll post it again tonight, about being a shipper of all the different people that you can order meat from online. Hey, I'm a firm believer in people learning from the commercial meaderies out there. A lot of time it's hard to make mead without having some kind of frame of reference of what you're trying to make. And you can ask around for people, hey, what would you recommend if I'm trying to make a session mead? What would you try to recommend if I'm trying to make a chocolate such and such mead? And people can point you in the right direction. But it's a lot easier to make a mead of a given type when you've had a great example of that. The Mazer Cup will give you that. The Vino Shipper and some of the meaderies out there will do that. And, hey, support our industry. There's a lot of great commercial mead makers out there, and I strongly encourage people to get online and order some of those meads. Hey, it tastes better than the Tide Pod. That seems what all the cool kids are doing these days. And you can drink them at home and share them with your friends. So
that's right.
Please support our commercial mead makers. And if you haven't, try Vino Shipper, try that link, and get some mead in your belly.
Yeah, that's right. There are so many good meads out there, and if you're not sure which ones are good, please feel free to reach out to me at gotmead@gotmead.com. I will be happy to tell you I've had most of them, so I can tell you which ones are good, which ones are not maybe as good as some of the others. There are good and bad, just like there are everywhere. But the majority of professional mead makers make really great meads. So it just depends on what your tastes are. So, email me, gotmead@gotmead.com. Tell me what you like. And, if you like sweet, do you like dry? Are you into fruit or spices, whatever? And I can probably point you in the right direction. So just give me a holler, and we'll be happy to fix you up. I've got over 450 bottles of commercial mead in my basement, so I'm pretty knowledgeable. I've tasted every single one of those, by the way, before I bought them. That's why I have them. So, but, don't be afraid to try commercial meads. I see a lot of dissing on commercial meads going on out there, and that's really sad because there are so many utterly amazing commercial meads available, and you just got to find the one that works best for you. So,
it's just like anything else. You didn't stop drinking beer when you had your first bad, hazy, damn IPA. They're all not the same.
Right?
Keep going, people.
Yeah.
You go to the store, you try on jeans. You got to try on a couple pairs.
That's right.
You don't just
Give
leave
these
the store in
folks
a
a try.
huff when the
They
first
make
pair
great
makes
mead.
your butt look bad.
Don't assume that because you had one commercial mead that wasn't to your personal taste that they're all bad. That is so very not right. It's just not cool at all.
Well, it's like
There-
there's so many different kinds of wine that can be made from grapes.
Yeah.
Why would you think that honey shouldn't have anywhere? Why would you think honey wine would all be the same
Exactly.
when
And
there's so much variation?
between the USA and Canada, there are over 550 meaderies available, and every possible style, level of sweetness, mix of ingredients, you name it, it's out there. Just, we'll help you figure it out. Just let us know, But don't write off meat if you had one you didn't like. Trust me when I say there's one out there that you will go absolutely apeshit for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Give those folks a try.
Excuse me. So, yeah, totally.
Ryan, you quiet over there. You got anything before I call it a night?
Yeah.
Oh, no, thank you, brother. I was just giving you the floor, that's all.
Oh, thank you, kind sir.
That and loving his Percocets to help him with that darn leg of his. So, it's like,
It's just too crowded for all of us to try to talk all the time when we can't see each other, and so I just, get deep in the background and hang out. It's not about me tonight; it's about you, Carvin.
I'm very proud of Ryan. 2 years you've been doing this, Ryan. You said.
No, just a little over 3 years, actually.
Yeah, and every year, man, you just keep upping the bar. The things that you're doing to help people, the podcast that you're doing, get down to forums, answering questions, imparting knowledge the way that you do. Kudos to you. We expect great things from you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words.
All right. Well, I have meat to go drink and meat to go make. So.
Well, it'll be good to see you at the Blazer Cup, my friend.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the Blazer Cup. I can't wait. I can't wait. So, Robin and I'll be there. Hanging around, judging me, drinking me. So we're really looking forward to it. Once again, we got the tables here at the Major Cup to be able to support the small meaderies. That's something that's near and dear to my heart, to be able to showcase, meaderies who might not have been able to be there, and we're just helping to, give those guys some spotlight. That's all. So I'm very happy about that.
Thank you for your generosity.
Oh, you're welcome. Miss Vicky and Miss AJ.
Yeah.
Any other questions for me before I go into a meat coma?
No,
I know you
else.
said you like. I know you said you like dry traditionals, but have you got a favorite mead that anybody else makes?
Oh, geez, I have a lot.
Well, name some of them then.
I love talking to the Bloody Hoof. I love the Murdering of the Crows from Sergio.
Oh God, Murder of Crows
I treasure
is great.
that mead.
Yeah.
That's a great mead.
Did you get pecan about it?
I have that one. I haven't opened it yet.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Mike Paul's Orange Blossom is
Malia? It's called Malia. That's it's nice.
Yeah, Malia is amazing.
When I can make a mead, an Orange Blossom that good, I'm just gonna drop this mic and just walk out the line.
Yeah, I know, right? Have you had Odin? You want to talk about mic drop? Drink Odin.
Yeah, I haven't had that one yet. But,
yeah, that's only makes
Paul.
like 150 bottles a year. It's pretty scarce. I managed to lay my hands on a bottle of it, but yeah.
I like Fair Brothers Desire.
Yeah,
I love that one. Brad has one that he did up at B Nectar. I think it's called Necromancer.
Necromangicon. Necromangicon. That's the black
man,
pepper mango
that-
one. That's one of my favorites. That's
Yeah.
so good.
That meat's good, and
It
you know,
is.
and then since I'm a session meat guy, my fridge stays stocked with Meridian High stuff. I love the fact that they got their meats in cans.
Yeah,
So I like
do
that,
too.
and I really love the Mind of Enlightenment from Sap House. That's a really good meat. His raspberry and his coffee meat
Yeah.
are, his coffee meat is probably one of the best coffee meats that I've had in a long time. So
Yeah,
that's a really
that's a
good
good
meat. And you can't mention me without mentioning Ken as a Madeline. That meat's just on another level.
Oh, Madeline is awesome, yeah. Although I'm just a Heart of Darkness girl right down the line. I mean, I love HOD. It's so good.
It goes on and on. I have a lot of meat. I know you say you got 450 bottles. I'm pretty sure I got you beat.
I'm sure you do.
I have a ton of meat. And that's not even counting my meat. That's other people's meat.
Well, yeah, no, this is just, the 450 is just other people's meat. I haven't actually got that much of my meat because I've been, not making a lot of meat for the last couple of years. So I'm just getting back into making meat for myself.
And I'm fortunate that I get to trade meat with some great meat makers. I got meat from Ryan, I got meat from David, I got some from Scott Shar, Scott out in Florida, I've had some of Jason Phelps stuff, so Michael Fry, I just had a Tupelo black currant from him that was just amazing. I think he just won something at Dahmer's for that one, but let's just goes on and on. All those meats just give me a frame of reference to what I want to be and what I want to become. When you have something that's so much better than yours, you just want to be better. And things like that make you better. And like one of my mentors, and sometimes one of the persons that I have a real friendly we're friendly competitive. Me and Jeremy Volk, so we got this little friendly rivalry going on. But to me, I still think he makes some of the best meats for a home meat maker out there. He's a wonderful meat maker. Kind of a quiet guy. He doesn't say too much on the forums, but man, he's a hell of a meat maker. So much so that I got his meads on a shelf at my house up there with my scotch. People are like, why do you have that one beer? People are like, why you got that one beer bottle up there? I was like, don't ask about it.
Shut up,
because you don't get to drink that shit. That's right. Jaden has another.
Yeah, you don't get to have it.
Jaden, who is the master of the 11th hour question, has asked, how many recipes do you think you created throughout your career, and how long have you been brewing? What got you started?
I've been around the fermentation arts ever since I was a little boy. So I would say seriously brewing, about 12, 13 years. And that means brewing beer and making mead. So, but like everything, there's been some breaks in there, work, kids, grandkids, so some of that hasn't been full time. Some of that's been 4 or 5 batches in a year. But I would say for the last 5 years, I've been hitting it pretty hard. The amount of recipes that I have, geez, I'd probably say 100 to 150. There's a lot.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Do you keep logs on everything, and if so, how?
Absolutely. I keep both electronic and I keep paper. And I keep paper because I've had more than one computer crash on me. So I always keep a paper backup of everything. And it's kind of nice. I have a little logbook right by my fermenters. And, anytime I do, add nutrients or I take a gravity reading, it's just kind of nice to just have the logbook right there. Because I don't always have time to go back to the computer. So, I'll just write it in the logbook and just go from there. So, I even though I own a software company, I still do a lot of my mead stuff on paper. I don't know. It's kind of like a Zen experience for me. I'm never in a rush when I'm doing my mead. Like, I don't try to do something before I go to work or whatever it may be. To me, it's a relaxing hobby. I never want to be in a rush when I'm messing around with my mead. So I'll wait till I have time, when I have time to dedicate to that, because I've found out that I make mistakes when when I rush like that, and I don't do things the way they should be done. So I treat my mead time as special time.
Yeah, it's kind of like relaxation time. I mean, when I'm working on my meads, I have a journal. I mean, like with a nice fancy cover, and just something I picked up somewhere along the way. It was on sale at Barnes and Noble or something. But I like the cover, and I bought it, and that's what I use to write down my stuff. It eventually ends up on the computer, but when I'm making my meads, it's all going down on paper, and there's like mead stains on the pages, and
yeah, samples.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like, and it's cool. I'm okay with it, and I'm a computer geek. My whole life is online, just like you. Carvin. I mean, it's like our whole lives are tied up in if the computers ever go down, we're screwed.
Well, people always want to know how long you've been doing something, but I like to rephrase that back to them, and so I'll leave Jaden with this. I always like to ask people, how long have you been making good mead or beer? And for me, I would say 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
So I was out there in the wilderness. I was out there in the wilderness a lot of those times, making hot diesel alcohol, mixing it with orange juice and Coke.
Been there, done that, man. So, I'm high-fiving you digitally.
So I was making some stuff. It wasn't good stuff,
But people liked it because it got them shit-faced.
Some of the things I used to think was good, and it was scary. It's scary, Oh,
I go
every once in
back.
a while, I run across an old bottle.
I go back
I
go back in my like sort of memory tastings, of things I've made in the past, and it's, and I look back and I think, oh my God, I thought that was good, and it's the same kind of thing. And now I've got the freezer mead that's going on right now. My friends are all going, enter in the Mazer cup, and I'm going, oh no, it's not good enough. Because I'm tasting it and going, if I was judging this, I would totally diss on it. In a nice way, but I would totally diss on it. And I'm looking at it and going, okay, it needs this, and it's not got that, and it needs blah, 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 blah. And so, it's, now I'm super critical of my meads. Because I've judged meads for, 15 years now.
Well, your name is attached to it. You take a little bit level of pride in that, when you're giving someone something, or you're sharing that passion or that hobby, your name is attached to it. So you want to make sure that, I try to make sure any meat that leaves in my house and goes to a comp, or even if I'm mailing it to a friend,
that I would be proud to share that.
Be a world-class mead.
Exactly. It's not leaving my house unless I'm proud to share it. Okay. Hey, Jaden, who is master of the 11.5-hour questions.
In caps lock.
And in caps lock, yeah. Says, what hops do you recommend?
To make a good hopped mead or braggot.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
I try to stick with neutral hops for braggots, like something that's just gonna just give me just like great bittering. So something like Magnum. So I think that's usually what I use for braggots. I don't make a lot of braggots, but when I do, I usually use Magnum. it just gives me bitterness and it gets out of the way.
Okay. Thank
All right,
you.
no more questions, Jaden, because I got mead to drink.
He's
and
got mead
I got
to drink.
barbecue
Yeah,
sitting in front of me.
he's been trying to get
And we're
out
at
of here
11.
and go eat barbecue for a while now. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna totally pin you later for some of your barbecue recipes, dude. Like offline. But in the meantime, thank you for coming on the show, and I'm looking forward to getting a chance to hang out with you again next month. It's been
Well, likewise, I enjoyed it, and thanks for having me on. And hey, I look forward to seeing all you folks out at the Mazer.
Yeah, if you don't have your tickets for the AMMA Conference in the Mazer, go get them now. Because there's not like an unlimited number of these, so go get them. Do it. Hurry up.
All right. Well,
You can do that.
hey, folks, great. Thanks for having me on, and have a great evening.
Yeah.
Good night, all.
You too.
Night,
Thanks,
night.
and I guess we'll see you in a month there, Carvin.
Yeah, we'll see you in a month. Okay, so, all right, so check out Danny Acevedo. He's got modern mead making videos that he's doing a whole series on at youtube.com/AceSpade2000, and that's ACEESPADE 2000. Check them out. There's some good vids on there. I've got to get them on the Got Mead site. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. Also, upcoming event that...
Want me to take those?
Yes, please. So would you do the Com3 commercials in that above that section?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in or around Atlanta on March 31st, I'd love to meet you at our festival. There will be mead, Superstition Meadery, Melovino Meadery, Beecraft Meadery, Honest Abe Mead and Cider, Etowah Meadery, and cider from Slim Pickens, Cider and Mead, and a few secrets more.
And the link is on the show on the episode page, since it's like a inscrutable Facebook link. But it's on the episode page. You can check it out. And so yeah, Michael Lowenberg asked us to post that, so we're posting it. There you go, Michael. You want to do the upcomings?
Yep, February 10th, we've got Big Lost Meadery has a beer pong tournament. February 10th, Boss Meadery has a songwriter soup with Megan Rose and Dana Perry. That sounds exciting. February 10th, Orchid Cellars has a Valentine's Day mead and chocolate tasting with Zoe's Chocolates. That sounds fantastic. February 13th, Superstition Meadery has a tasting and music at the Wandering Tortoise. February 14th, mead and cheesecake pairing at Dahlia's Poorhouse. March 31st, Day of the Juice Beer Festival.
Yeah, that's the dayofthejuice.com. That's the thing Michael was telling me about.
Okay. And Hamish's event happened already, right? That was the 4th, I think. So that would have been Sunday. Yeah. All right. Regardless, if you want to get your event on Got Mead Live, let us know at gotmead@gotmead.com. Don't make us chase you down. This is free advertising. Tell us so we don't have to find you.
That's right. Vicky's getting tired of having to Google everything for this stuff every week. I have to go search meadery events. Seriously, really, you could be sending this to me and getting it for nothing. All right, and just FYI, the Michael Lowenberg episode, that's the Day of the Juice Beer Festival, is dayofthejuice.com. So, and that's March 31st. So check that out. He just sent it to me, and I'm like, dude, really? He just sent it to me. He just sent it to me like, wow, we're announcing it. Gandalf is asking Ace of Spades 2000. Gandalf, it is Ace of Spades, ACESPADE 2000. So that's youtube.com/user/ACESPADE 2000. You want to copy and paste that?
Yeah, it's like Ace Spade 2000.
It is, yeah. Copy and paste that to the live. It's already linked on the show page, so on the episode page, it's already there. And who wants to do the upcoming?
Next week we've got Chrissy Minions Arpour.
And I think we're also going to have somebody else on that same day. I think it's Becky Starr from Starlight Meadery. On that same day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, no. I take it back. Becky's on the 20th. I'm still scheduling.
Okay. On the 20th, we've got Teresa Dorr from Vino Shipper. So that should be very interesting. And then you say we've also got Becky Starr coming? All right.
Sorry,
and then
Becky Starr from Starlight Meadery.
Yeah. Okay. We haven't talked to her in a while. She was
No,
in the
we
very
haven't.
first one of the first shows we did, I think.
They were, yeah.
Okay. And the 27th, we've got BJCP, Adam with Haymaker Meadery, and he will be talking about oaking, I believe.
Yeah, BJCP, we're going to have some of the BJCP people who lead the BJCP, so people on their board that are coming to talk to us about what they're doing with the Mead certification. And
Okay.
yeah, and then Adam is talking, he's going to be speaking at the conference. So, but yeah, and that's our last show before the Mazer Cup. So after that, we're 2 weeks off. Yay! And we're going to be, we will be broadcasting live from the Mead Mixer on March, 14, 15, 16, on March 17th. We'll be broadcasting live from the Mead Mixer at the Mazer Cup on March 17th. So, and who is broadcasting live is just going to depend on who has the bag with the equipment and the microphone in it. So, there will be a bag which has all the stuff and a microphone, and just walk around and talk to people. So, yeah. But yeah, that's the plan. So, yeah, I think I'm supposed to have somebody else on with Chrissy, but I got to go back and look through my notes. But yeah, we're doubling up, trying to get as many of the speakers in as we can before the
Cram them all in, push harder.
Pretty much, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, not all of them have have 2 hours worth of stuff. I figured Carvin would, because it's melomels.
Because it's Carvin.
And Mead and Carvin, yeah,
and
exactly.
Mead and Carvin, yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else, do you?
No, I'm good. What about you,
I think we shall
Ryan?
wrap it up. I think Ryan left already.
Ryan left already? Did we lose Ryan?
Yeah. That one Carvin did.
We did lose Ryan. Oh my God, it's just you and me. Okay. Wow, when did that happen? Ryan's not feeling well, so I'll check in with him, make sure he's okay.
All right.
He texted me. Yeah, looks like he got dumped. Okay. All right then, kids. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And, send in your questions to gotmead@gotmead.com and let us know what you want to ask Chrissy, which is mead and food pairing. So, and I'll let you know if there's another person coming on, and we'll make it happen. So, run up.
And in the meantime, everybody drink responsibly.
That's right. Yeah, run up to the AMMA Conference and the Mazer Cup. So, we're just going to be like heavy duty mead shit here. So, all right, y'all. So, we're going to and we'll see you next week. Talk to you later.
Good night, everybody.